people because we rely on a lot of. There's a difference between having a conversation with someone over the phone and a conversation I'm having with you face to face. Like, I respect you enough to be able to like show my face to you and have that dialogue. I can read your emotions. I can see facial cues. I can have a conversation with you today and recognise you tomorrow.
I agree.
But if you were wearing a full face burqa, I wouldn't be able to recognise you tomorrow.
I agree.
I wouldn't be able to know you so well. So
I agree.
I was wondering if you really think that the burqa is fit in UK society. Like, should it be? Is it acceptable that we live in a society where some people are allowed to conceal their identity at all times?
I think the question can be posed differently. My question is, are women allowed to wear what they desire to wear, what they want to wear? Is the primary question we need to address.
Because like, they couldn't be naked, they couldn't wear no clothes because that's against the law.
I'm talking about wearing, not taking off. Taking off, there are laws there, of course. Even those laws.
They couldn't wear a T-shirt that had child pornography on it, could they?
Right. I agree. I agree. Anything that has the potential to put other people's lives in danger, or anything that has the potential to cause harm to the society, should not be allowed. I agree.
Yeah. But do you not think the burqa is harmful to society?
No. When did it become harmful? When?
I mean, it's a barrier to integration.
No, the question is, when did it become harmful? Muslims have been in Britain for the last century.
Well,
over 100 years. Muslim communities have flourished in Britain for over 100 years, and many of them wore burqa. When did burqa become a problem?
Well, I would say from the first day that somebody wore one. Then that would have been
Where is the evidence for that?
Well,
bring news reports. Bring the news reports from the 90s. From the 90s. Forget about 1950s or 60s or 30s. I'm saying bring news reports from the 90s where people are making an issue about it.
Well, that's because there wasn't many people wearing burqas. But
no,
now it's
that's
become
not true.
Like a bigger issue.
In the 90s, there were over 1 million Muslims in Britain.
You think
and
in
I
the
would
90s,
say out of
there was the same amount of people wearing burqas in Britain as there are today? That's
not necessarily, but there was a considerable amount of Muslims.
Even if there was less, it still would have been a problem. Because
I'm saying there were over 1 million Muslims in the 90s in Britain. Out of those million, I would say few thousand would be wearing burqa.
Yeah.
Why was it not a problem then?
Just because it's only a few thousand, or even if it's one person, if you're concealing your identity at all times, that is a barrier to integration, right? You need to have that.
I see your point. My question is, when did this become a problem in Britain?
I would say from the moment somebody first put.
Where's the evidence for that?
Well, I don't know what evidence you would want that would be
evidence of someone making noise about it. Oh, we don't like burqas.
Well, a lot of people
burqa should be banned in Britain.
Well,
these women should be.
It's quite a controversial position to take, and not a lot of people would. It wouldn't be promoted in the media.
So we can only talk about it when we find evidence, right? Without evidence, it's all.
Well, you can use reason and logic to come to the conclusion.
Reason and logic needs substance. Do you agree?
Yeah, it does.
So I'm talking about substance.
Do you not accept the argument that a full face veil covering is
that's a completely separate discussion, and I can agree with you there. That to some people, veil can be intimidating. Veil can be unacceptable to some people. To others, it is a religious obligation. The question now is, Britain being a tolerant country, a country that championed liberalism, a country that went through a bloody history in the past 1,000 years, and in the 18th century, philosophers increasingly wrote on liberty and tolerance, tolerating other people's views, and Britain had championed that. That's why hundreds of thousands of people moved into Britain, because of the tolerance and the liberty people enjoyed in Britain.
Yeah.
And now that tolerance is slowly fading away in political circles, not among the masses. The masses are still lovely people, beautiful people, tolerant people, generous people. There are politicians and there are uneducated, illiterate, underprivileged people who have a problem with burqa. Either people who are against burqa are highly educated, or those who are not educated at all. The middle class doesn't have a problem. The people in the middle, they don't have a problem.
I'm curious to know why you feel like you can speak on behalf of the middle class.
Because I know the statistics. I know the statistics.
What statistics
how many people do you think would want the burqa banned? Do you have statistics?
I don't have statistics on that.
Okay. And until then the assumption is people don't want it banned.
No,
if
not
people,
necessarily,
no,
because, like,
not
how
enough
often
people.
do
Wait,
people get
not
the
enough.
opportunity
The
to
assumption is
express?
not enough people want it banned. Why is child abuse banned? Why is animal abuse banned? Why is anything else for that matter banned? Which is bad for the society, because enough people want it banned, right?
Yeah, but
right.
also what you've got
In
to-
Britain, fortunately, that's not the case yet.
What you have to acknowledge is that politicians will put through policy that they know will make them look good, and if they suggest or put on the table a policy like what they've done in France, and they say, should we ban full face veil coverings, that would be very controversial, and it wouldn't be strategically advantageous to put forward that policy as a politician.
Okay.
Therefore, it's
Would
not
you
something
argue?
that's likely to go
Would you
on the
argue the same thing for someone who has tattoos all over his face? Tattoos. This, you can't see the face. It's like dark
Where it's all
green
black, but-
on the face, like Maori people.
But I mean, I can still see their facial expressions.
No,
and
you
stuff,
can't.
And I can
Not in
recognize-
What about dark sunglasses?
Yeah,
The gentleman here, I can't see what he feels towards me.
yeah, but I could
can't
still,
see him.
if I saw him today,
you can
have a
see-
conversation-
That's you, but a lot of people wouldn't. Just
Okay.
like, again,
No, no, no,
with,
no.
with a person with the
Come on,
face
let's
veil.
be
No,
reasonable,
no,
right?
I'll be reasonable. A person with the face veil, you can see the eyes, right? Can you see
Not
the eyes?
always. Some people have the
Okay,
veil.
I'm talking about the ones with the face veil, yeah?
Yeah, but even if it's just
can see the eyes.
I won't necessarily remember something.
No,
just
fine,
based on
fine.
the
You
eyes.
don't feel comfortable with it. That's your personal
Well,
opinion.
I'm not saying that I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm just saying that is a barrier to integration, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not. It is a barrier possibly to assimilation, but not integration. Women with niqab, with burqa, or even the veil have been integrated in Britain in all walks of life. There are teachers, there are people working in the administration of this country, there are people who are, doing a number of different jobs. Now it has become a problem. Since 2001, after September the 11th, since 9/11, young men like you have been heavily influenced by media a campaign against vulnerable women who are actually being attacked by racist, thuggish, unfortunate individuals who are taking the frustration out by attacking these women.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
And these women are exercising their right in a free society to wear what they like to wear, so long as they do not impinge upon someone else's freedom or they do not impinge upon someone else's well-being. So a woman wearing burqa, how is she harming you?
Well, I would say that she's basically not offering me the same level of respect that I'm offering her.
That's your opinion.
Because
That to others, that's not the case. So because it's your opinion.
But essentially, I know it's religiously motivated.
Yes.
But she's like saying that there is what's the justification for wearing the burqa? Like, let me know what the justification.
It's completely irrelevant to our discussion.
No, but like it is, because somebody's intentions for why they behave is the way
They wear
do.
it for religious reasons,
Yeah, but what is the religious reason?
to cover your beauty.
To cover your beauty.
Yeah, women
Why
should
would
cover
they-
their beauty so that they are protected
But what would they need to be protected from?
from a number of different threats.
Yeah. but
For example,
the
I'll give
assumption
you an
is that
example.
I'm a threat, but so I'm
I'll give you an
afforded the
example.
right to
In
be able to-
Scotland, once upon a time, not very long ago, a campaign was being run that women should not go out on weekends dressed revealingly.
Yeah.
Dressed revealingly. Why? Because they get attacked increasingly by men who are out to have a party, right?
Yeah.
This is a fact. This is a fact. And the same logic is applied by, if you want the logic behind it, human logic, that's the logic, that the purpose of covering is protection, right?
Okay. Here's an interesting thing to consider. Do you think Muslim
Sorry? Modesty, protection, piety.
Was it for assimilation or was it for modesty?
Assimilation is not the question we're discussing here. We're discussing integration. Integration and assimilation are two different things. Assimilation means becoming one with others, right? That's impossible. That's impossible. Can the English people assimilate into the Saudi society when they work in Saudi Arabia? Can they be expected to become Saudis? No, that would be unfair.
No, but is there no such thing as integration without becoming the other person? Whereas you can work together in a cohesive society.
Integration, in my opinion, means respecting other people's right to live by their own principles, so long as those principles do not impinge upon other people's.
Side by side each other.
Yes, absolutely.
Integration, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, talk to each other, converse with each other, mix with each other. No,
Becoming the other.
but do I have to go to pub to integrate? Do I have to go and sit and have a pint to integrate? No. I can have a chat with John or Tom or Gary. I can have a chat with them. I can talk to them. I can talk about.
Practicing your religion for free in a country which is not necessarily your religion. That would be, a comfortable level of integration.
And what is that?
What do you mean?
Being able to practice your religion?
That is in a free country.
Yes, and this is what I'm arguing for, that everyone should be allowed. Sorry?
Are we not already allowed to practice our religion?
Yes, but some people are arguing that some people should not be allowed to practice their religion, i.e. Muslims. Muslims cannot be allowed to practice their religion.
No, the argument was that I'm suggesting that a lot of people have a problem with full face veil coverings for a number of different reasons. The argument that Adnan is suggesting is that it's religiously motivated, and the religious motivations is that it protects them from threats. Is that correct?
It is simply the logic behind it as a Muslim, okay, is God commands it, we obey.
Okay.
Muslims believe in God.
Yeah.
They're not a godless people. They believe God exists, and they have a firm conviction that God exists. It is God who made the universe. Therefore, He deserves our obedience for creating the universe and putting us here. Now that, so when God commands X, Y, or Z, we obey, because that's God. We can't say, no, God, we're not going to obey. Right? We obey. God tells us, cover your beauties. All believing women, cover your beauties. Right? All believing men, lower your gazes. Do not gaze upon women with lust. Do not. That's what the Quran commands. What's wrong with that?
And
What's wrong with that?
Why would men need to lower their gaze, and why would women need to cover their beauty?
Because God commands it.
But God uses reasoning and justification. He uses logic and reason.
For us Muslims, that's enough. But if you want to understand the wisdom behind it, what may be the wisdom, my mind tells me that when people look, men are visual. Most customers for porn are men. Pornography is the biggest selling item on the net. The largest amount of searches on Google are what? Porn. Who is searching? Men. What are they searching? Particular bits of women. There are certain bits of women that stimulate most men, unless there is some strange pervert who likes the toes or the knees or the nails. Generally speaking, men generally they are searching the same things, right? It is those things God wants us to cover, because those things are the ones that stimulate men into doing things that are not legal. For example, rape is a big problem. I'm not saying rape is caused because of looking. Don't get me wrong, because some people jump to conclusions. I'm saying that rape is a reality in our societies, unfortunately. More so in the West, because it is recorded. We know how many rapes are taking place. And they have reached a pandemic level in Britain.
To ignore that, it wouldn't be for women to cover up.
No, not necessarily. No. One of the solutions, one of the preventions is not, according to me, in Scotland, not very long ago, I gave an example earlier, that they were running an ad on TV in Scotland that women, when they go out on the weekend, should not dress too revealingly. Why? Because they are likely to get abused like that on weekends. Most rapes in this country.
Also be advertising men should control their animalistic.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is exactly what the Quran says. You men, look down. Don't look at the bits. Yes? And women, try not to expose your bits for them to look at them. You understand?
The argument is essentially that the burqa offers a level of protection, right?
No, that's not the ultimate reason. It is a number of things. Okay? That's the rationality of it. If you want me to rationalize it, I would be able to do it that way. But for us as Muslims, we simply obey God's command.
Okay, but
right?
Us as non-Muslims, we can't just accept the argument that it's God's command. We have to understand the reason behind it.
I agree.
So if you're saying it's protection, my question then is, do you think that women wearing the full face veil are experiencing less, do you think that if they remove their full face veil, they'd experience less attacks than if they had them on?
Absolutely.
Because I think that the ones who are wearing the full face veil are actually attacked.
Let me give you an example.
The ones who aren't.
Don't believe me. Don't believe me.
Argument.
Don't believe me. There was a social experiment done in the US. It's on YouTube. Okay, and just put hijab social experiment.
Yeah.
Hijab social experiment. There was a lady they chose, and she was a beautiful lady, evidently beautiful, and she was put on this Muslim clothing on her, hijab and what we call jilbab, the loose dress. And she walked the streets of New York, and hardly anyone whistled or passed remarks or comments. Same video, same woman, they took off the hijab, and she was in a tight t-shirt, in a tight jean, her figure was showing, and they filmed her. The person filming was in front, so that people don't know this is being filmed. Every single person, nearly every single person, either whistled, passed a remark, or said something sexual to that woman. This experiment, I mean, well, you don't need Islam and Muslims to explain this. This is a socially accepted reality. Women who are revealingly dressed are more likely to be approached by other men. Women who are dressed in a religious setting or in a religious clothing, how many of you will actually go and try it on a nun? It's a question. How many of you, men, I'm asking men, if you saw a nun with beads in her hand, with a cross hanging from her, and she's dressed in a nun's suit, how many of you will actually go and say, can I have your number? Hey, sweetie, right? Will you whistle? No, you're not going to do that. But if you see a woman in a very tight clothing, right? Obviously, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go in details, right? So this is my argument. Socially speaking, it is well established that women who dress revealingly are more likely to be approached by men. Hence, they are more likely to be touched, abused. Did you know?
I mean, last
point.
Single her out.
Last point.
She's not wearing anything revealing, but she's not covering her face.
Yes.
And like it's like just because you expose your face, that doesn't mean that you're being revealing. Like your face is like still very modest.
I agree.
So like you can still be very modest and have your face.
Now that I have explained the rationality behind it, that's the rationality. You can accept it, you can reject it. The question is now, if women want to cover themselves out of modesty, out of rationality, out of religiosity, are they allowed to do so in a liberal society? Should they be allowed to do so in a liberal society? Okay, if they are not allowed to do so, is that society truly liberal? Is the question.
Well, the thing is you've got to consider is like how far can you tolerate certain things? So you've got to have one rule for all and not one rule for some and
that's
one
communism.
For others.
That's communism.
Well,
that's not liberalism.
Not necessarily, but when it comes to your identity and how you interact and function in society, if I went around with a face mask all the time, or if there was like a group of individuals who went around with like hockey masks all the time, do you think that they should be banned, or do you think they should just be allowed to carry on?
If people
like with a full-on face hockey mask.
I'll give you a better example. Balaclavas. If people are walking around, no, they should not be allowed, because they do not have the reasons to wear those balaclavas. They can't. It's not part of the religion. They're wearing it possibly for some sinister reason, right?
Is it illegal, Max?
Yeah.
Is balaclava illegal?
No, it's not.
It's not illegal because you can wear a balaclava and walk around.
Yeah.
No, but that's a different question. But you would be intimidated. You would be intimidated if you saw. I agree 100%, Max. I agree that if you saw someone in a balaclava, you would be intimidated. You would be thinking, if two people are standing there like that, looking at me in a balaclava, I would be, hold on, let me find an exit route, right? I would be intimidated. But with religious women, like Jewish women, Muslim women, and Christian women, those who want to dress out of modesty, some go to extremes, potentially, possibly, they want to cover their faces. Let them do it. It's their choice. They live in a liberal. If they're not complying with the law, then I have a problem. If the bus driver asks a woman to lift her veil so that he can see her, she should do it. At the airport, she has to do it. At the bank, she has to do it. A police officer or in the court, she's asked to lift her veil and identify herself. She has to do it. But otherwise, if she wants to hide her face and she wants to do it out of religiosity, then she should be allowed to do it as Jewish women do, as Christian women do. What's the problem? This is what makes... Yeah, they do. They do. Can I now come and say, I don't like your covering of the hair? Get rid of it. I don't like the way you dressed. You know those Jewish rabbis walking around in Stamford Hill with big chunky hats, You know,
It's also, I think the reason, the difference is that it's not covering their face, which is usually a mark.
Yeah.
I understand. I agree. I agree. I agree. There are two questions there. Number one, if they want to do it out of religiosity, does the law allow them to do so? And should they be allowed to do so? Number one. Number two, when did this become a problem? It's very important. It is very relevant to this question. This was not a problem in the 90s. There were women walking around in Bradford, in Leeds, in Leicester, more so.
Consider this: if
Yeah.
50%, no, if all
let me
of
finish
the
my point.
women in society wore full-face veil coverings,
Yes.
how do you think society would change? It would change
Saudi Arabia,
much for the worse.
Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar.
Yeah, but
Qatar.
do you think
Qatar.
that would be a preferable?
Qatar is one of the most advanced countries in the world. Have you been to Qatar?
No.
Okay, go to Qatar, and you will see there are women walking around with veils. Okay, they are living in a perfectly peaceful society. No one is intimidating them, and no one is intimidated. It is the issue of tolerance. How far are we willing to go to tolerate other people's views and their religions and their well-being, or even their being, for that matter? If I don't like the way you have your hairstyle, and you don't have a beard, okay, and the way you have this T-shirt, right? Do I have the right to ban it? No.
But
It's
that's
your
not
choice. You want
infringing on my rights. Whereas if someone covers their face, that's infringing on my right to know who I'm speaking
No,
to.
no, that's
because
not your
I have
right.
no idea who I'm speaking with.
No,
do I?
you can ask.
Because I could have a conversation with
ask.
someone.
You can ask. It is not. Is it
What,
your
so
right?
I'm supposed to go
No.
and ask, are you the person that
No.
I'm speaking with?
Wait.
Have
Yeah.
an accent and a tone of voice and a body language as well, and
Yes.
eyes.
Yes.
You can recognise someone in
What about on your phone? Do you ask for FaceTime?
Well, I've got someone's number, so I know who that person is.
No, that's that. Look, he's making a valid point. I agree with his grievances. He's saying that I don't know who's talking on the other side. The person is hidden, and I agree with that. That it's not a
I
comfortable.
wouldn't be able to
It's not.
establish the same relationship as a friend with someone if I never knew what they looked like.
Yeah. The point is, I agree with that. However, your uncomfort with her choice of dress is not her problem. She has the right to dress the way she wants to dress. You don't have the right to know everything about her, do you? Do you wait.
I'm afforded the right
Do you
to know who I'm speaking
do you have the right to know the size of her breasts?
to. That's completely different.
Okay. Do you have the right? Do you have the right to see her teeth? The size.
not
Do you?
necessarily, no.
Okay. Do you have the right to see your lips? That I want to see your lips.
No, like, I can't
Okay.
command
So
someone.
game over. So game over.
No.
That's the discussion over. Because it's her right to show what she wants to show and to hide what she wants to hide. It's her right. The fact that you are uncomfortable with it and you don't like the way she's hiding her face is your problem. It's not her problem. You don't have the right to see her face. If she doesn't want to show it, it's not your right to see her face.
Just stop talking to her, Max. Seriously.
Yeah. And if you
It's a shame though, because I would like to talk to people who are wearing full face veil.
no one is stopping
I'm stopping you. It's
Yeah.
you who feels uncomfortable. is what
No,
you're saying.
because if I did approach someone,
They wouldn't be,
and
if you want them to take the veil off, then you wouldn't be talking to them with a full face veil on.
But we're saying that's we're saying that's your feelings, not hers. Well, it's both. It's her freedom to
I
wear what she
wanted to get to know that.
Listen, the point I'm making, it's a very simple point. How far does my right go in a discussion with another person? When I'm interacting with another person, can I touch that person? No. Can I ask that person to take the clothes off? I can, but it is that person's choice whether that person wants to reveal or not. If the person wants to hide,
nice conversation here. We can see each other perfectly.
yeah.
Look at the way that we interact. We know that humans are visual, like you said. As with the
No, I mean, if she
men and
was
women. And it's the reason why.
We're having two discussions here.
Anyway.
Sorry. Yeah.
But like, obviously we're making eye contact, we're
Yeah.
touching each other's reactions.
Your whole
we're looking at
facial
the
expression.
muscles. It's how you, I think I would make an argument of how you interrelate within society as a whole is highly dependent upon being able to understand people's facial expressions.
I agree.
It's a
I,
total
look,
barrier to
I agree with you that it's an issue of culture. British culture is not accustomed to, or most British people have not spoken to a veiled
Have
woman.
you spoken to anyone in a veil ever?
No, not really.
We can organize that today.
You lived in Libya, yeah?
We can organize that today, and we can organize that today. It's not a problem.
You have, yeah? Have they ever answered you incorrectly or anything strange?
No, that's not the issue. They are talking about something different. They're saying, no, they're saying the fact that she's covered is a barrier.
Yeah.
And I agree. I agree. And it is meant to be a barrier.
Right.
It is meant to be a barrier. It is meant to be a barrier because these women who choose to dress like this, they have themselves put up this barrier because they believe that that barrier protects them.
Yep.
It preserves their modesty.
Yep.
It preserves their piety, and it's their choice. It's their freedom. They want to do it, let them do it. So long as they are not impinging upon someone else's right, we don't have a problem with that. This is how it should be. That's a civilized society where you have colorful people from different cultures, different societies. What makes Britain great? I believe Britain is great is because of its colors, is because of its United Colors of Benetton. You remember that make? Huh?
What's that?
Those of you. There was a clothing make called United Colors of Benetton.
By the way,
So that was a joke, by the way. You didn't get it.
Scary
Okay.
seeing a woman with a burqa.
That.
It's
So,
very scary for children to see a woman wearing one of those burqa things.
then explain to your
It's
children.
frightening.
No, explain to your children. Educate the children. That lady is as human as you are, or your mom or your sister is. You need to respect her freedom. We need to educate. For example, when some European women are dressed revealingly in Dubai or in Qatar, okay, parents should explain to their children that these people are from a different culture. They don't dress like us. They're not covered like us. They have their culture. Let them have their culture, right? Okay. Likewise, in Britain, when people come here as guests, you know how much money the Khalijis, the Gulf people, bring to Britain every summer? You know, all of these women in these Phantoms and these Lamborghinis and I don't know what kind of cars they be driving near Knightsbridge. They bring millions of pounds into this country to spend, and they are in Wales. Do you think they're oppressed? Ask the husband. He will start crying. He goes, I am oppressed. What are you talking about? She's using my credit card left, right and center. She's doing shopping in Harrods. And you think she's oppressed? She's not oppressed. She wants to be like that, and that's her choice. In Britain, there is a wind of intolerance blowing, unfortunately. It is well funded and it is well sustained. It is well oiled by certain people who don't want harmony in Britain. It only became a problem after September the 11th. It was never a problem. Veil was never a problem in Britain before the year 2000. I can tell you for a fact. Thousands of women used to wear veil in Britain before the year 2000. No articles on them. No pressure on them, no attacks on them. Now suddenly attacks on veiled women. And cowards, they would never attack a man. They would go to a woman, they would wait when no one's around, they're going to go and punch and slap her and pull her veil. People are doing that. No.